Yeah, so a few of my colleagues at Indus actually were working with top at that point, and some of them had actually scored really good scores in the high 700s as well. And they recommended me that, hey, if you want to go with one coaching to prepare for the GMAT, I think it should be top. And like that is the best institute in terms of the coaching as well as the material. So it was no brainer for me. I just went for top 1% because it
Great.
was recommended by so many of my colleagues at that point. In the top mocks, I was scoring around like 585, 615, and 635 around. And by the end of it, even in the top mocks, top 1% mocks, I was scoring like 685, 695. And the official mocks, I was scoring 735, 725. So there was a gradual progression, which I think can only be evident to you when you take mocks over a longer period of time and divide it uh, throughout time. So
I am pretty elated to see that one of our students could score a 705, which is a phenomenal score,
thank you.
stands at the 98th percentile. And as we can see, you scored an 88 on Quant, which corresponds to a 96th percentile, and a very impressive 85 on Verbal with the 94th percentile, and Data Insights stands at an 82. So, heartiest congratulations to you on that phenomenal score. And before we delve deeper into how GMAT prep looked for you, could you give us something about your background of how did GMAT come into the picture and in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah. So doing a GMAT and preparing for going to an MBA came to me when I was working at Indus Insights as a consultant. And at that point, it came into my mind that, hey, in order to move into higher levels of consulting, into MBBs and Kearneys, I need to have a good MBA from a good institute. And that's where GMAT came into the picture. My manager, he like prompted me that, hey, you can take your GMAT. And at that point, I decided that, hey, I wanted to take my GMAT, and that's how it all started.
Great, that's wonderful. Yes, to break into some good management consulting roles, GMAT is something that truly helps. So,
Yeah.
talking about preparing with Top as a partner, where did that come into play? How did you, I mean, you would have been very confused at the beginning while
Yeah.
selecting whom to start your preparation journey with. So, how did Top come into
Yeah.
picture?
Yeah. So a few of my colleagues at Indus actually were working with top at that point, and some of them had actually scored really good scores in the high 700s as well. And they recommended me that, hey, if you want to go with one coaching to prepare for the GMAT, I think it should be top. And like that is the best institute in terms of the coaching as well as the material. So it was no brainer for me. I just went for top 1% because it was recommended by so many of my colleagues at that point.
Right. So, how many years after college have you taken this exam, and how much time did you devote in total to your GMAT prep? And how many days on average were you correction? How many average hours were you clocking per day?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So my GMAT preparation was actually divided into two phases and a huge gap in between. So I actually this was my second attempt to be honest, and the last time I attempted was mid of last year, in August of last year, and at that point I scored a 665, and this time I was preparing again. So I went over the coaching material again. So I'll talk about this time. It was about 2.5 months of preparation with about 2 to 3 hours of preparation each day. So that's what it took, and by the end of it, I gave my exam.
Great. So, I am curious as to which product did you take? Were you in the intensive programming or the self-paced course?
I was in the self-paced course.
Self-paced course. And any reasons for
Yeah.
selecting self-paced over intensive?
Yeah. The reason was that I did not have an idea if I will be able to uh, work with the program in an intensive course given my work schedule. So that's why I selected for self-paced course that, hey, I can study on my time whenever I'm free. And yeah, so that was the reason that I took the self-paced
Great.
course.
I think it truly helps to kind of figure out where exactly do you have time to accommodate your studies. And for someone in college, I think intensive works out to be a little better because that is where you
Yeah.
need a lot of discipline because you have so many peers
Yeah.
and colleagues. Right. So talking about the material, what were some of the material that you thought really moved the needle for you because you took an attempt in last year as well, and you scored a
Hmm.
665. So you would have done certain things differently this time. And how did your
Yeah.
prep look like? Did you go over the entire content this time again, or was it just selectively doing the things that you were weak at in your 665 attempt?
Okay. Okay. So in terms of material, I focused on material given by top 1%, as well as a few additional material like LSAT passages from GMAT Club. So those were the only two materials which I used, as well as obviously the KTW videos. And the shift that I made from last time to this time was that, hey, firstly, I went through the entire material again because this time did not, I did not want to have any kind of uh, leakage or any kind of weak areas in my preparation this time. So I went through the entire top 1% material again. In the second time, in the last time I was preparing, my RC was not as good in preparation as the second time. So in order to improve my RCs, I went through the LSAT passages in the GMAT club. So I went through about 250 LSAT passages just to strengthen my RCs. And that was, I think, what moved the needle because my RCs became really, really good in the second attempt. Like in the second attempt, my verbal section was completed in about 40 minutes. So the 5 minutes was spare. And it happened just because I practiced so much of LSAT passages.
It's, I mean, if you happen to score a 85 on verbal, it is very evident that a person who's scoring that level has to be confident in reading comprehensions. And though you would have subscribed to certain passages from GMAT Club, there's a lot of LSAT content also which we provide, and it truly helps
Exactly.
in moving the needle and getting you across that the 85 barrier. So, and I
Yeah.
also prescribe this to a lot of my students that if on the test day you are even slightly anxious while reading an RC passage,
Hmm.
that can
Yeah.
have an impact on the time that you're allocating to critical reasoning. So yeah,
Exactly.
you have practiced a lot on LSATs, and that has
Yeah.
truly showed up in your time management. You said only 40 minutes you took, and
Yeah.
so tell us about the test day experience. Was there anything that you saw on the test day which threw you off balance?
Yeah. I think the only thing which threw me off balance on test day was my nerves. So I started verbal ability, and the first few questions I had to reread it again because I was so anxious during the exam. Uh, but as I went along the exam, I think my nerves calmed down, and I was able to work more accurately, think more clearly. So that was the only thing which threw me off. But otherwise, the exam went well.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I also wanted to know, how did you blend in mocks in your entire practice? How many top
Mhm.
mocks did you take? Did you take any other mocks? Official mocks is something that generally students like to take. So, could
Yeah.
you elaborate on that a little?
Yeah. So in terms of mocks, I actually followed the pattern which was recommended by top. That hey, after you have done your bridge course, and after you have done your classroom course, then you can start taking mocks every week. So that's what I did. I took mocks every weekend, and I blended in. Apart from top 1% mock, I bought the official mocks by GMAT. So the four extra official mocks. So I used those only, and overall, I think every weekend I used to give one mocks, and closer to the exam, I started giving two mocks every week. So that's what my pattern was.
Right. And could you see an improvement in your mock score from the time that you've taken it first, and
Yeah,
towards the end of your exam?
yeah, definitely. So towards the starting in the top mocks, I was scoring around like 585, 615, and 635 around. And by the end of it, even in the top mocks, top 1% mocks, I was scoring like 685, 695. And the official mocks, I was scoring 735, 725. Uh, so there was a gradual progression, which I think can only be evident to you when you take mocks over a longer period of time and divide it uh, throughout time. So yeah.
So, talking about your strategy to improve on the mock, I'm
Mhm.
sure you would have had your own epiphanies. You would have realized that there is a certain aspect of the GMAT that you've downplayed in your initial mocks. And how did you
Mhm.
collaborate your strategy to kind of see that improvement from going from a 615 to a 735 on your official mocks?
Yeah, yeah. So I think the main thing which helped me move the needle the second time was that I started maintaining an error log very rigorously. Uh, Now, in the error log, I used to mark all the questions which I got wrong in practice as well as in mocks. So, the Excel sheet which top provides, I had the mock, I marked down all of the wrong questions as well as the mistake which I did. And what that enabled me with was, hey, when I was going through the error log, I was able to identify patterns in my mistakes that, hey, what I was doing. For example, in Quant, I was making a lot of silly mistakes, but just making a silly mistake does not give you a direction or a path that, hey, what needs to be corrected. But because of that error log, I was seeing a pattern of questions where I was making a mistake. For example, in allegation questions, a lot of the times, the volume of solution C was asked, but I was marking the volume of solution A. So those were the patterns which I was able to find because of the error log only. So yeah, that helped me a lot.
Great. And data insights is a section which a lot of our students struggle on, and you've been able to score an 82, which is a very respectable scale score. So,
Yeah,
did your was data insights always your strong suit, or was there a improvement that you were able to achieve over the last time, or say the first mock that you took?
yeah. Uh, I think in data insights, to be very honest, like Sandeep sir said in the course, uh, it is a combination of verbal and quant. So as long as you can master verbal and quant very efficiently, I think anybody can score well in data insights. And that's what I focused on. I focused on improving my critical reasoning and my quant. And those were the two things which actually moved the needle for me in data insights as well. For data insights, to be honest, I prepared it in the last 3 weeks of my preparation only because be before that my verbal and quant preparation was not at the point, and I was going through quant and verbal basically. And yeah, I think for data insights, as long as you can master verbal and quant, data insights should not be an issue.
Right. And talking about the material, a lot of our students tend to also say that it gets overwhelming for them to address whatever we've given them. So you would have
Hmm.
also prioritized which materials to address and which ones could come at a later stage if you're not achieving your score. So
Hmm.
could you tell us how your approach was different this time when compared to the 665 attempt, and what all materials did you address in the 665 attempt versus now?
Yeah. So I actually addressed all of the materials both the times. So all of the CR basics or the verbal basics or the quant 700, 800 level questions. I addressed it once again. I basically went through it two times uh, to master it. And yeah, I would suggest that he go through all the material which top has provided. And in the second attempt, I also looked at a lot of KTW videos by Sandeep sir. And that actually gave me the context on mastering the RC portion of the test. So for people who think that, hey, the material is too vast and too dense for us, I would say that, hey, go through the material one by one. Don't think of it as I have to go through all of that today. Take one step, and as long as you keep taking steps to cover the material, I think everybody can cover it.
So you come from a very quant heavy background, and you have so many precedents from your college of students getting their scores within 3 or 4 months and
Yeah.
moving out and starting with their application journey. And I'm sure a lot of other students would have also told you that 4 or 5 months is all that it needs. And you didn't have a similar experience. So was there any sort of a mindset issue initially when you were in your 665 attempt, that you thought that you'll only take this much time to devote towards your GMAT? And did that change? I mean, you took, I would say, more than a year to address the exam. And though there
Yeah.
was a gap, I'm sure that factor would have also played up while you were preparing this time. Did you have a target for yourself that you will address the exam in a particular time duration, or was it a little lax on your end from in terms of when you want to get your score?
Yeah. So that was actually one of the changes which I made in my second attempt. In my first attempt, what happened was I time bounded myself that, hey, I want to give my GMAT by XYZ date. And I think that took a hit on my preparation, both in terms of quality as well as quantity. Because I had set a particular date as a target for GMAT, I think it took a hit on my preparation because it took away uh, the time which was required to master the material. Right. In the second attempt, I did not give myself a certain deadline that, hey, by this time I have to give my GMAT and get my scores. Instead, I went along with the preparation, and as I was getting my target score in my mocks, registered for it after that. And one more mindset shift which I took in the second attempt was that, hey, if I'm not able to give my get my target score in my first attempt, I will prepare for it again and then give it again. So I had given time and gave justice to my preparation in the second attempt. So I think that, yeah,
That's
that's
great.
what,
That's amazing
yeah,
because even Sandeep sir recommends that you take your exam only after getting the kind of score that you want on the test day across three mocks. And I'm sure
exactly.
that happened in your case, and that is when you became confident to go and book the exam. And I think that is
Yeah,
how every student should look at the exam because had it been so easy, everyone would be getting a 99th percentile score.
yeah, yeah,
Right. So, Mehul, to wrap it all up, what would be your few do's and don'ts that you would like future onlookers to assimilate from this interaction that we're having?
yeah. Uh, I would say if anybody is going with the top material, like follow the material exactly to the point as recommended uh by the preparation structure
Yeah.
by top. That's one thing which I think everybody should do. And secondly, I would say that focus on quality over quantity. Focus on mastering the materials and giving it justice and giving it time. Uh, in the first attempt, like nobody can do an RC, a difficult RC in the first go. But as you keep preparing, I think everybody can do it. Uh, so yeah, I would, yeah, those are my recommendations.
All right, Mehul, thank you so much for your recommendations and your time. And we at Top
Thank you,
1%
sir.
are incredibly proud of what you've been able to achieve and wishing you all the
Yeah,
best with your applications. Bye.
thank you, Karan, sir.